The Fifth Element, ABC Saturday at 8, 7 Central.
Seconds away, President Reagan gearing up for major surgery. We have live team coverage and a close call caught on tape. One pilot's scary landing next at 11.
You know, I like helping people.
There, and then it's just like, bam, right in your face.
Tom Selleck and traffic star Topher Grace on Live.
This is ABC 7 Los Angeles. Now, Marc Brown, Laura Diaz, Dallas Raines, and Bill Weir with Eyewitness News at 11.
Inside this Southland hospital, a former president and his family rest and wait. Tonight there is growing concern about Ronald Reagan, who is just hours away from undergoing major surgery. Good evening, everybody. I'm Marc Brown.
I'm Laura Diaz, and here's the latest at 11. Former President Reagan was hospitalized tonight after breaking his right hip in a fall at home. Tomorrow, 3 weeks from his 90th birthday, he will have surgery. We have team coverage tonight, and we begin with Eyewitness News reporter David Jackson live in Santa Monica. David.
Laura, the former president said to be resting comfortably here inside St. John's Medical Center. He is described as resting comfortably following what was also described as a simple fall inside his house. He has now joined daughter Maureen as patients inside the same medical center. The former president was taken to the hospital by ambulance from his Bel Air home after suffering the fall. A bone was broken in Mr. Reagan's right hip, which will be repaired Saturday morning in a surgical procedure inserting a metal pin into his hip socket. Mr. Reagan's chief of staff, Joanne Drake, said tonight, quote, "He is fully alert, in good humor, and in stable condition. Mrs. Reagan has been with him all day."
The time is now, my fellow Americans, to recapture our destiny.
Few people outside the Reagan family have seen the former president since his diagnosis with Alzheimer's disease. But those who know him and Nancy from their Bel Air Presbyterian Church say that Mr. Reagan is in their prayers tonight.
A hip fracture can be a real problem, I guess. We haven't seen too much of him for the last couple of years, but we love him dearly and wish him the very best of luck and speedy recovery.
Something about him was very positive. I felt he was a great role model as an individual and as a president, and I wish him the best.
Ronald Reagan's oldest daughter, Maureen, from first wife Jane Wyman, is also at St. John's Medical Center, undergoing cancer treatment for a melanoma tumor removed from her hip. The aggressive form of cancer requires powerful medication, and 60-year-old Maureen is said to be doing well tonight. She is expected to be able to visit her father's hospital room. Now, Mr. Reagan is going to turn 90 years old on February the 6th. It is not easy to recover from a hip operation for any individual at the age of 90, but Mr. Reagan is also described as being in good physical health, so he stands a pretty good chance of coming out of the operation and doing very well very quickly. At least that's what everybody hopes, including his doctors. Live in Santa Monica, David Jackson, ABC 7 Eyewitness News. Now back to you, Marc.
David Jackson, thank you. Former President Reagan is not alone with his hip injury. An estimated 250,000 people, mostly elderly, break their hips every year in the United States, and recovery is not easy. Our live team coverage continues now with Eyewitness News reporter Miriam Hernandez. She is live in the Eyewitness Newsroom. Miriam.
Marc, hip fractures can signal serious problems. According to the Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons, only 1 out of 4 elderly patients make a full recovery.
It happens every other day at Glendale Memorial Hospital. An elderly person is admitted after a fall.
It's a very common problem. I mean, must be a couple hundred of them coming through any ER of this size a year.
And sometimes, as in the case of the former president, it's not even a severe fall.
I've had people just step off the curb and feel something go pop and can't walk anymore.
Bodies lose bone mass with age, and if you do not exercise regularly, you lose coordination as well as muscle. It's easier to fall.
Why not shin, or why not some other bone? Why is it always hip?
The hip, the way it is constructed, because of the fact that it's a bone that's angled right at the edge, that just happens to be a weak spot. It's a very vulnerable spot. And this is the hip itself. This is where it goes into the hip joint. And since this goes in a sort of an L shape coming down here, the L shape, the cross of the L right there is where you most commonly get breaks, right across this part.
Surgery for the 89-year-old patient will be simpler than hip replacement because the bone was not shattered.
If the bones are reasonably well lined up and there aren't a whole lot of little pieces floating around, just 2 pieces, and they're pretty much adjacent to each other, frequently you can just put a pin through it and hold the 2 pieces aligned.
And doctors say you can reduce your risk by taking plenty of calcium, walk, exercise with weights, and for women, they say estrogen is still highly beneficial in the long run. Reporting live from the newsroom, Miriam Hernandez, ABC 7 Eyewitness News. Mark, back to you.
All right. Thank you, Miriam. Please stay tuned to Channel 7 for any new developments. We will continue to bring you the very latest on Ronald Reagan's condition.
Mark, there is other news tonight. A hospital bed must have felt like heaven for a mountain biker who spent 2 days lost in the freezing San Gabriel Mountains. He was finally found this afternoon, and Eyewitness News reporter Carlos Grana is live from Huntington Memorial Hospital with this incredible story. Carlos?
Well, Laura, that hiker was brought here to the emergency trauma center.